Hi everyone, welcome back to Intro to Java. This is episode 2, part 2. We're going to be continuing on variables. This will be a rather short video because we already talked about declaring variables in the first part, but we'll just expand on it. So we already kind of know that when we create a variable, right, it's also known as declaring a variable. We're creating it and setting a value for it. So usually, always, all primitive data types format will be just like what I said in the last video: data type, variable name, and the value. So if you could see here, int age equals 20. Here's your data type, which is an int, right? Here's your variable name, which is age. Variable name can be anything, right? However, one, and then value is 20. So it'll always follow this format, right? Value, data type, and variable name must be in here. Nothing more, nothing less, right? So this is the format you have to follow for primitive data types. We have object data types. Those we don't talk about till a few days later, but I want to talk about strings. Strings are an object, okay? And strings are the only exception following this format. They act like primitive data types, but they are objects. So if I want to declare a string, I would say string name equals Dennis. And remember, for strings, don't forget the quotation marks. And I will show you guys later why. So that's how you declare a string. Everything else you follow this format, and strings you just need to make sure you don't forget the quotations. So we have string concatenation, which is adding two strings together. So if you can see here, string one, we have data type, right? We have the variable name. It can be anything, right? It's S1, and then we have our value. Do you notice how these are in quotations? Okay, remember these semicolons, don't forget them, right? And then the same thing happens with the second one. We can make as many strings as we want, right? We can make as many words as we want, just like in English, right? And so if we have these, right? If I wanted to print hello, I can say system dot out dot, sorry for my handwriting again, dot print line S1, no quotations. Okay, so actually I'm gonna start typing it so it's easier to read. Okay, so system dot out dot print line S1 and system dot out dot print line S1. So for these two, oops, sorry about that. For these two, they're different. One has a quotations and one doesn't. And the difference between these are that without a quotations, you are printing out the value of the variable, right? So S1 is the variable, the value is here, right? Remember the value is on the right-hand side, hello. So this will print out hello. But on the other hand, this will just print out S1, because anything in the anything in here is like the value. Without quotations, you're saying, oh, you're indicating, oh, I want to print out the value of the variable, right? So that's what happens in strings. So now let's talk about the third line, system.out.println, which we already know because of print statements, S1 plus S2. Okay, and this is really weird, and this is an exception for strings only. Strings only, okay? We'll talk about primitive data types later. So if I have hello plus goodbye, what happens is you just jumble it up together and you'll print out hello goodbye like this. Let me type it so it's easier for you guys to read. But it's hello goodbye, okay? And there's absolutely no doubt about this, okay? Because what happens is you have S1 right here, right? And then you have S2, oops, right here. So you just mush them together and print them out like this. You don't go like H, G, and then like split them up and make sure they're like even and they're equal or something. You just go hello, goodbye. First one goes in first. Second one follows right after. And that's what we call string concatenation, when we add two strings together. Okay. So I hope you guys understand that. Let's just do some exercises together. So I'm gonna give you guys pause the video and which ones are declarations of variables. So you can just like look at it and be like, oh, I know it's this, I know it's this, blah, 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 right? So you guys can pause the video. Okay, I hope you guys finished. And let's get started. All right, so when we declare variables, we're setting the data type, the variable name, and that's how we declare a variable. We set the variable by equaling it to a value. Okay, so I didn't talk about this earlier, and that's my bad, but we can split it up into two parts. Okay, and the reason why is because this is when you declare the variable, and this is when you set the value to a variable. Okay, so when we declare a variable, we're putting the data type. So data type, and then the variable name, and then semicolon is a declaration of variable. So if you can see here, if I have a data type and a variable name, right, I will get the declaration of a variable, right? Now let's move it down here. So if you can see in this code, after learning about that, we can see there's one right here. We can see there's a second one right here. And we can see there's one last one right here. So this one is a declaration because data type is an int, right? I'll circle the data type in pink, and I'll circle the variable name in purple. Okay, so here's that, and then double is your data type. The second one, and the purple one, health, is your name. The third one, Boolean, is your variable data type, and your variable name is power up. So there's three declarations right here. Okay.